was the mid-1800s, and the great city of Philadelphia was abuzz with excitement. After all, one of the great formalities of the day was about to take place, the grand opening of the National Exhibition of the United States. It was the first national exhibit of its kind, and it was sure to be the talk of the town. On the sunny fall day of September 11th, nearly 100,000 eager people filled the grounds of Philadelphia to witness this historic moment. With their eyes filled with wonder, they watched as the grand opening ceremony took place, and with it, a grand display of American ingenuity and artistry. Among the many impressive sights were the beautiful wonders of the exhibition hall, wherein the public could look upon creations from all over the world, including model ships, paintings, furniture, and more. And in the centre of the great hall stood a grand, life-sized reproduction of the Statue of Liberty from the harbour of New York City. It was breathtaking, to say the least. But it wasn't just the art and the wonders of this major event that caught the eyes of the viewers at the exhibition hall. For here there was also the opportunity to see the great inventor and state legislator, Alexander Graham Bell, demonstrate his latest invention, the telephone. Yes, it was in this very room that Alexander Graham Bell demonstrated his new invention to the public, showcasing how the telephone could transmit voice data from one telephone box to another. But as the exhibition began to draw to a close, there was yet another demonstration that stole most of the limelight, and it was by an inventor who had been working all along for the past 5 years. It was the brilliant John Moses Browning, the man who would later become a renowned firearm industry pioneer. Here he showcased for the first time the revolutionary machine gun he had developed. His invention, dubbed the .32 Auto Browning, revolutionized the field of armory and warfare forever. His machine gun allowed for much faster rates of fire and also featured recoil compensation, making it easier to handle during prolonged firing situations. Needless to say, the public was flabbergasted. Here, in front of them, was the man who had single-handedly changed the face of warfare, and all of it had gone off without a hitch. But after the grand finale of the exhibit, a sudden and unexpected chaos arose. You see, unbeknownst to the public, a fierce competition had been taking place between Alexander Graham Bell and John Moses Browning. Both were eager to prove the superiority of their respective inventions, and that's when things took a shocking turn. Without warning, Alexander Graham Bell's telephone began playing out a series of strangled noises that sounded like Morse code. It was a sound that could hardly be described as music, and yet, as strange as it was, it seemed to be a call from miles away. Mesmerized, onlookers stood stupefied by the invention's ethereal melody, until out from the electric cords, a voice from the receiver spoke to the people. It was the overjoyed voice of Alexander Graham Bell himself, speaking from New York City and expressing his opinion about the stunning display of his telephone. The reactions were just as expected. After all, how could it be possible that one could speak to someone hundreds of miles away in a matter of seconds? But in the midst of these events, there was one voice that went unheard and unnoticed. Back in the Arms Hall, John Moses Browning had set up his demonstration to showcase his newly developed machine gun. As the transmission from Alexander Graham Bell's telephone filled the exhibit, Browning had the choice to either consume it away or rise to the occasion and demonstrate the power of his invention. In the end, he chose the latter. At first glance, the rivalry seemed a bit silly and exaggerated, but what unfolded that day would be remembered for a lifetime. You see, John Moses Browning had another trick up his sleeve that no one expected, a live-action demonstration of his machine gun's capabilities. As the shockwave of Alexander Graham Bell's transmission began to die down, a voice said from the observation stands, "Let's see if Browning has something to show us." As if on command, A loud crack echoed through the exhibit hall, and a hail of bullets filled the air. Browning had opened fire and had successfully demonstrated the capability of his machine gun. The crowd was electrified. Here were two genius inventors, each demonstrating their respective invention that proposed to change the face of warfare forever. The rivalry was settled. Browning not only proved the superiority of his machine gun that day, but also stunned everyone with his nerve and showmanship. To this day, the events of this day are remembered fondly. The National Exhibition of the United States proved to be one of the most influential events in arms industry history and helped introduce the country to many modern-day conveniences like the telephone, the machine gun, and even the Statue of Liberty. It was a day of great innovation and wonder, where a rivalry that rose from competition ultimately brought honour and glory to both parties. John Moses Browning and Alexander Graham Bell can truly be remembered as two of the greatest inventors in history. They may have been competitors, but their inventions would come to revolutionize warfare and the world as we know it. As we snuggle into our beds and close our eyes for the night, let us take a lesson from the events of that day and remember that true greatness in life often comes from collaboration and not just from competition.